applause for Kristen. Honestly, it's people like Kristen that really inspired me to make this documentary, and I was so honored when she wanted me to speak tonight and invited me to speak. I actually interviewed Kristen for the documentary a couple weeks ago, and she graciously invited me into her home and gave us some great hummus. Better cat. It was a good time. I actually was a photographer at the DNC, so when I saw Kristen's work, it was a real connection to what I had kind of been doing during the election. For those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, I was a photographer at the DNC. I was actually the youngest communications volunteer, which was very intimidating and daunting, but it was by far the best week of my life. And from there, I went straight into HFA. I did work in New Hampshire, out of Somerville, Massachusetts, because I go to school at Emerson College in Boston. I've always been into like government politics, but I was never one to like give a stump speech or like go canvassing. Like if you would have told me that I would be doing this in high school, I would have been like, no, I'm not. But I really can't put into words the feeling of being on the floor watching Hillary accept the nomination. It's something that still gives me chills to this day. And actually up until that point, I'd known Hillary Clinton. She was kind of like an enigma in my life, but she wasn't someone who I would have, looked at as a role model. Not for any particular reason, but she was kind of always present, but I didn't really feel her presence until I was at the DNC and I saw her accept that nomination. And it was honestly one of the greatest days of my life. The 20th of July will forever remain with me. My whole phone case is DNC oriented. So during the election, I did a lot of storytelling. I found that telling the stories of our volunteers was really powerful in not only spreading the message of our campaign, but recruiting people. Because a lot of times, people don't think that they can be a part of a campaign. I thought that our campaign was very inclusive and inviting, and I always felt welcome at Somerville for Hillary, where I worked. I was just a college student, and I said, hey, I do social media. Can I come on board? Can I help you? And it was always a yes. They always supported my creative endeavors, and we did some amazing work together, getting the most volunteers that they had ever gotten in previous elections through online organizing, which I helped do. Our videos went around, and it was really rewarding work. And I felt so close to my family, my campaign family, which was really helpful on election night because, to be quite honest, I completely lost it. And I couldn't get out of bed for like days. Because this election was very personal for me. I had a personal relationship with it and with the campaign and Hillary, and it felt like a part of me was just like ripped out. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate. And it was especially hard because a lot of my friends and family didn't understand why it was so personal. It was like, oh, you just like Hillary Clinton, you're sad for her, which I'm very sad for Hillary still to this day, because I think she would have been a phenomenal president, which we can all agree, but it was much more than that. It was, a lot of people look to me as a resource for the campaign, a lot of young people in particular, and I promised them that we would do this and protect them, and to look my friends who are members of marginalized communities in the eye after the election was super hard because I felt like we had really let them down, and they were so scared, and honestly, I didn't know what to say. So kind of flash forward a couple months of just like not being able to get passionate about much of anything. It was just weird not having Hillary in my life, honestly, not seeing her around. I mean, like, you got so used to seeing her everywhere, and to not see her at all was just like heartbreaking, though she deserved a break. I remember when the hiking photo came out and HRC in the Wild was born. Honestly, HRC in the Wild was like the greatest thing that ever came into my life. And it was really just relieving to see her, walking her dog and like just go, carrying on. And, seeing that she was doing well was really helpful for me in kind of picking up the pieces after. And that kind of leads me to September, where I met Hillary for the first time. I remember when I was in New Hampshire, days before the election, I almost met Hillary, but the Secret Service took her away. So she kind of like tried to lean down to see me, and I was like, please don't fall. Like, I'm not gonna be responsible for you falling. But she had to go, and I remember calling my mom being like, I'm never gonna meet Hillary Clinton. Like, I'm so upset. Because I had always like almost met her so many times, and That me could have never known that she was going to endorse my documentary. So in September, I was at the signing in New York, woke up at 2 a.m., got there at 3. Kristen got me cupcake. It was great, especially that early in the morning to have that to carry me through. And I was at the top of the escalator, and this girl came up the escalator. She was 12 years old, and she was on her tippy toes like this to try and see Hillary. And the moment that she saw Hillary, her face just showed relief and happiness. And my friend and I were standing there, and we were just like, because I'm very vocal on Twitter about standing up for not only Hillary, but our campaign and what we fought for. And I'm not sorry or apologetic about it. And I get a lot of hate and harassment, which I'm sure many people in this room can relate to. And it gets scary, especially as a woman, to get some of these messages and not know if they're serious or not, and not have Twitter take them seriously, which is a whole different thing. But when I saw that little girl's face, I knew that standing up for Hillary and everything was the right decision, and that it does actually have an effect and an impact, especially on young people's lives. And after meeting Hillary, I walked out of that book signing knowing that this is what I had to do. Because I was upset, as many of you probably are, that the media doesn't ask us how we feel. They don't invite us on shows. They don't write papers about us. Nobody asks Hillary supporters about how they feel. It's almost like we don't exist and that everybody was forced to vote for her, which is just such a lie, because I met so many people whose lives were completely changed because of Hillary Rodham Clinton, and I'm one of them, like standing here today making a documentary that I never thought I could. And to have her support on this has just been phenomenal. She shared my Kickstarter similarly to Kristen. And now my good friend Diane, who I met through HFA, is my associate producer. She's here today. After this, we're going and meeting up with our HFA friends. And I couldn't be more grateful for this community in its entirety. From the bottom of my heart, from supporting this film to being interviewed for this film. We had a great conversation today, filming about everything that's happening and our respect and love for Hillary. And I honestly could have never saw this coming a year ago when I was feeling so down. To have Hillary hold her hands and say, "I'm proud of you," was just like, it brings tears to my eyes. She's such a beautiful woman, and she's really just given me like the confidence I didn't have, especially after the election, feeling so down and shattered. And that's a testament also to the people that surround her. And I wouldn't be who I am today without Hillary nor the HFA community. And I will forever, till the day I die, be grateful. So thank you to everyone who supported 12 Little Girls. If you're interested in like checking this out, we have Twitter, which is TATLG doc, because 12 Little Girls is too long. And we have our Kickstarter page and everything. Kristen knows it, so you can ask her too, I'm sure. It's coming out June 13th, which is the 3rd year mark since Hillary kicked off her campaign in New York, and we're having a premiere here in New York to launch the film. I'm just so excited to share the community with the world and give voice to us that we haven't been given. Because again, I have so much respect for so many of us who got out there and really lived up Hillary's honor. So thank you all, thank you Kristen, and thank you Hillary, though you're not here.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.